Hey everybody, Stuart here from VelocityAP. Coming to you tired, severely jet lagged, but I wanted to share this video with you just to get you all a little acquainted with a project that we've been contemplating for some time and we've taken on. So um, we're here at our headquarters, got a few interesting cars out here. The boys are actually up at the track right now because we have a members club racing weekend this weekend at Area 27, so the bays are empty and got a couple of long-term projects in here. But I wanted to show you a car that we picked up. It's kind of a special car to me for a variety of reasons, and I think it's probably going to be an interesting project for everyone to take a look at. So it's right here. And as you can see, it is somewhat incomplete and it requires some work. So it's kind of a interesting story. I've known this car and been familiar with this car for over 10 years now. Belonged to a long-term client of ours in North Carolina who purchased the car from a previous owner, and it had been supercharged with a rotary blower from ESX in California. Still unsure exactly how many of those cars were ever built. I'm told it was 8. I'm told it was 6. I've seen at least a handful of them out there in the wild, but this is probably the most significant one. So yeah, our customer bought this car, embarked on a long process of learning some of the aspects of tuning the vehicle himself, decompiling hex at a very, very high level, and tuning the car to run properly. When ESX first released these kits, which I believe was somewhere around 2009 or 10, we're talking about probably before the V12 Vantage existed, there was not, at an aftermarket level, an in-depth knowledge of how to tune the vehicles using the stock ECU like we currently have. It took us many years of learning, research, and development, mostly on behalf of Chris, my business partner, who writes all of our tuning software. And also largely with some input from the previous owner of this vehicle as he got more and more and more in depth into some of these things. There was a lot of collaboration between him and between our company over the years. So he actually got this vehicle set up to run larger injectors, removed the auxiliary injector that ESX had fitted to the car. Their solution to getting fuel into it was basically to add an injector into the intake to shovel a little bit of extra fuel in and intercept some signals between the engine and the ECU and allow that extra injector to piggyback off of those. So the owner got this car set up running on the stock injectors, then got the car set up running on larger injectors and started pushing the boost levels higher and higher to see where he could get the car to. And I believe it was somewhere around 580, 590 wheel horsepower that he was running when he eventually bent a rod, which I think was an expected conclusion. It wasn't. It wasn't entirely unexpected based on what was happening, and it was something that I think he was well prepared for and didn't surprise him. So at that point, the engine came out of the car, and he had some guys over in the Netherlands who are very well known for Super products build an engine for him. Some very nice upgraded parts in it, valve train, rods, pistons. The car was built actually to lower the compression ratio to run additional boost, which is not a bad idea on a forced induction application. Although, you see a lot of modern vehicles that can run pretty high compression with modern engine management and still run a lot of boost. But this car was built to drop the compression ratio a little bit and run a lot more boost. So that engine got completed. It got shipped out to him in the United States. It was installed in the vehicle. And at that time, he started having a number of issues just getting the car to run correctly. COVID hit. Travel got very difficult. And when they determined what the issues were with the engine that needed to be resolved, it became quite a long process to get those parts removed from the vehicle back out to the guys in Europe for them to address a couple of issues and get them back to him. So to cut a very long story short, this gentleman reached out to us at VelocityAP over the winter and said, you know, I've had this car for 10 years now. I think it's actually more than 10 years, but at least 10 years. And I've kind of reached my conclusion with it. I'm not super mechanically inclined, and you know, at this point, getting the thing back together and running and resolved, I think I've lost my enthusiasm for it. That offer was made to us originally 6 months prior to that, and as you can see here, we're operating from our new building. We've been in here for about a year. This partition wall here actually separates the two sides of the building, and we have all of our fabrication shop facilities and warehousing over there. But we were pretty deep into that project, and it was pretty significant for us financially. So at that time, we had to say no politely. December rolled around, and let's just say we received an offer that we couldn't refuse. So we picked this car up. We've had it shipped up here to us in British Columbia, and we're going to be starting work on getting the vehicle back together here, have the cylinder head ready to go on, have a couple of other bits and pieces to fit to it. And at that time, we're also going to be doing some analysis of this supercharger kit to see whether it's feasible to reproduce certain aspects of it and make those commercially available to customers, as well as just looking at a couple of other forced induction options. We've been down the road of exploring those several times over the last few years and run into a few different roadblocks with them. So it'll be interesting to open this up again, see what we can do with it, get the car calibrated and look at how much power we're making. And then we also intend to do some interesting things with the car as far as the build. So this is going to be a full-on project car for us. This is installment number 1. We're going to start in the next couple weeks getting some parts back on here and getting the engine running. The vehicle's in pretty good shape. There's a couple little things that need some TLC, headlights being one of them. The interior is in pretty nice shape, but I think we're probably going to look at doing some other upgrades in there. Whole bunch of parts ready to go. And actually, if we wander to the back of the shop here, you can also see a couple other bits and pieces in here that go with the car. So you have the intake powder coated red. It's a supercharger down here, and a few of the other parts of the car. So yeah, just getting started with this one. I think it should be a fun project, and we hope that you can follow along with us while we get the car up and running and see what she does.